All right, hold on. All right. Shalom, y'all. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai Barakatam. To older brothers, Yahweh Shema Alatam Bashem Yahweh Shai to the sisters. Like we're going live for a second time. Just have to change the title real quick. All right, so before I get into the show, there's a few things I want to do. So I want to just quickly share the live on Facebook. So y'all bear with me one moment. Let's do this. So we got this profile. Okay, from here. All right, as y'all come in, make sure you share the live. You know what I'm saying? Drop a comment. Drop a like. All right, we're about to get into a few different topics today. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Okay, let me find the live. Hold on. No internet connection. Hold on. Stand by one moment. Okay. As y'all come in, also, you know what I'm saying, if there's any topic, anybody wants to talk about or, bring up, by all means, put your stories, your experiences, anything y'all want to talk about, put it in the chat. You know what I'm saying? By all means, I have certain topics I want to go over, but if anybody has any other topics, they want to discuss or I could look into, you know what I'm saying, I'm more than happy to do so. Let me see. Do this. Hold on one second. Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and begin the show. All right. Welcome to Real Time Revelations. You know what I'm saying? The show hosted by yourself, yours truly. Well, not yourself. Hosted by myself, yours truly, Officer Raawban of the I.S.U.P.K. UK. You know what I'm saying? It's a show I do every Sunday, 2 p.m. to about 3:30, depending on what topics we got, depending on what kind of interaction we get, you know what I'm saying, from the listeners. So, you know what I'm saying, make sure y'all drop comments, like the video, you know what I'm saying, share the live. All right, and we're about to get into a few topics. So, from the title, tonight's title is Always the Targets. All right, black people are always the targets. Wherever there's something that, the government is doing shady, the citizens are doing shady, black people are always the target for everyone. Like East Indians, they come over here and they target black people. You know what I'm saying? The Chinese, they come over here and they target black people. They set up their stores and whatever in your neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? The government targets you, put all different laws in place. The school system targets you. You basically just can't have black hair. Like you can't have black hair, you can't have braids, you can't have this, you can't have that. And it's specific to target black people. Like we're always target of all these various enemies that we have. You know what I'm saying? These enemies that our people don't even know, that these nations that come against you, that do these things, that set these things in place, these are your enemies and not your friends. All right. So before we get into that topic though, I wanted to share something. From this weekend. All right, over this weekend, you know what I'm saying, Saturday we went to Leicester. You know what I'm saying? Did a few interviews. So there was this whole Christmas thing going on. There was a whole stage, people doing performances and singing and dancing, and there was some Santas there that had a sleigh and everything, and kids were there taking pictures. You know what I'm saying? Which is and Santa was handing sweets out to children. Now, like any other day or any other time, you would tell your children, not to go up to strangers, not to speak to strangers, not to accept food from strangers. But when it comes to Christmas, all of those rules, all of those, you know what I'm saying, wise sayings and good things to abide by just go right out the window because they're in the Christmas spirit. And when they're in the Christmas spirit, like children is just up for grabs. I'm about to show y'all something in a second, right? Let me see. Which one want to do first? Right. So let me just show you the event, what was going down. I took a little quick video. Let's do this one. Right. Let me turn this up. So this is the event. So we're in Leicester, and this is the event that's going down right at our camp spot. You know what I'm saying? This is what's going down right here. They got a whole stage up there. You got Santa right there, you know, dressing up, handing out sweets to little boys and girls. Right. You also had another Santa around the corner who was with the fire service, with the fire brigade. They had this whole elaborate sleigh, and you would go sit in Santa's sleigh and take pictures and this, that, and the third. Then his sleigh, you know, the time was up, right? Like you don't even really get paid to dress up as a Santa and take pictures with all these kids and have them sit on your lap or sit in your sleigh or whatever, hand out sweets to them. They don't actually get paid for this. They're doing it out of what they would call the goodness of their heart, right? But the whole time, like if you actually think about it, these people are dressing up as Santa to get really like volunteering to dress up as Santa to get all this interaction from children. What type of people do you know would go to such lengths to get, you know what I'm saying, so much interaction from children and have children sit on their lap and hand out sweets and this, that, and the third to children? Like handing out sweets to children is okay if you're in a Santa costume, but it's not okay if you happen to drive a white van. Having kids sit on your lap is okay if you're in a Santa costume, but in any other context, if that's not your child, you know, that's looked at a little funny. I just find that fascinating. That when it comes to Christmas, all those rules and all those guidelines, all those safety protocols you have in place for your children go out the window. It's the same thing with like Halloween. Like you would tell your child not to talk to strangers, don't go to a stranger's house, don't accept food from strangers. But when it comes to Halloween, you're going to multiple strangers' house. You're knocking on their door, asking them for sweets. You're asking them for food. Item you could have. I heard stories. I'm sure people putting blades and people putting poisons, roofies, things like that. Knocks on your door, and some, you know, some dangerous person, some person who would cause harm to children, just snatches a child into the house, never to be seen again. Just snatches a child into the because you just went ahead and let your child, because that's what everyone else is doing, because that's Halloween. That's just the customs. All these things, like if you're a child predator, all you have to do is dress up as Santa Claus around Christmas time, and you good as gold. You are absolutely good as gold. All them children, you know what I'm saying, you just get to sit on your lap and take pictures with you and all manner of perverse things. If you a child predator, you that's good money at Christmas time. If you are a child predator, that's good money at Halloween, where everybody's masked up as well. Everybody's masked up. All manner of things could go on, and people just send their children out to the wolves because it's Christmas, because it's Halloween. I just wanted to point that out. But also, we did some interviews, right? I interviewed the same Santa, right? The same Santa that was you know, handing sweets out to children and doing all that. I interviewed him on Christmas. I had a few questions that I wanted to ask Santa about. Ask this oppressor about. Okay. Leicester City Centre. So let me play this interview for you. All right, so we are here in Leicester City Centre. You know what I'm saying? Leicester Square. I'm here with Santa. Cool. I'm here with Santa. Saint Nicholas. I just want to ask you a question, right? Are you Christian? Yes. And you believe in God, right? Yeah. Do you celebrate Christmas? Of
course. Let me ask you a question. Would you stop celebrating Christmas if you knew that God disapproved of Christmas? Would I stop? If you knew that God disapproved of Christmas? I don't think so. Don't think so. No. I've been doing it for too many years just to give it up. Do you know what I mean? So you just keep going even if you knew for a fact God disapproved. It's for the kids now, isn't it? That's what it's all about now. Yeah. Bringing families together, bringing people together. I don't think he'd approve of it. I think he's quite. If he would have approved of it, he would have done something about it by now, wouldn't it? To be fair.
And the devil, of course, he misspoke. He said, I don't think he'd approve of it. That is correct. The Most High does not approve of Christmas. The Most High absolutely does not approve of Christmas. Christmas is found nowhere in the Bible. Nowhere does it tell us to celebrate the birth of Yahushua, or Jesus Christ, as you'll call him. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us that even his birthday is on the 25th of December. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to go cut a tree down out the forest, bring it in your house and decorate it with lights and put gifts underneath it. Nowhere in the Bible does it say to do all these things. But Christians do it. Christians do it. And this Christian said, even if he knew for a fact, and he claims to love God, right? Even if he knew for a fact that God disapproved of Christmas, but you find in the Bible, the Most High does disapprove of Christmas. The Most High does not want you celebrating these pagan holidays and learning the customs and the ways of the heathen. That's in the Bible. The Most High does not want so-called Black Latinos or Native Americans to be putting some Christmas tree up in your house, to be buying gifts for the 25th of December and wrapping them up and doing all these Christmas traditions you see. All that secret Santa, giving all praise and glory, even when you get the presents for your children. Imagine you're a black man working 2-3 jobs to make ends meet. When it comes to Christmas time, you have to go in debt to make sure your kids get the best presents or whatever, presents they're going to break in a matter of days or maybe weeks if they're just going to break anyway. You go in debt for it, and who gets the praise after you break your back trying to get your kids presents? Some fat, jolly oppressor. Some fat, jolly devil gets your praise. Gets the praise for how hard you worked to get your what's the word? To get your kids gifts, right? Somebody said, do you understand the point of celebrating Christmas? Why celebrating winter? Okay, so break it down for me. Break it down why you celebrate Christmas. Right? I know it's damn near a combination of a bunch of pagan traditions. It's a bunch of pagan traditions. Traditions about the Yule log, this whole custom about cutting a tree out the forest. That's in the Bible that the Most High talks against. Someone says, so you speak for God now. I don't speak for God, but I can break the Bible down. I can break the Bible. I can show you in the Bible, if you would like me to. I can show you in the Bible where the Most High disapproves of Christmas, right? But the point of Christmas, it's celebrating winter. It's the whole winter solstice. It's a bunch of pagan customs and pagan holidays just rolled into one, and then they decide to bring Christ into it. They decide to say, that's when Christ was born, and so all these pagan customs, we're doing them to celebrate the birth of Christ. So let me get this straight. So you partake in pagan customs, which is idolatry. Is idolatry. It's serving another god. If you look into the pagan origins, it's always serving some pagan god. Doing those customs is idolatry. So you telling me in order to celebrate that Christ was brought into this world, in order to celebrate the birth of Christ, you have to keep pagan customs. You have to commit idolatry. You have to break the law of God to celebrate the birth of Christ. I mean, somebody make that make sense to me. Somebody please make that make sense to me. But this Christian says that even if he knew for a fact, let me play the video again. Let's play the video once more.
I think he's quite. would have approved of it, he would have done something about it by now, wouldn't it? Right. To be fair. All right, so we are here in Leicester City Centre. You know what I'm saying? Leicester Square. I'm here with Santa. I'm here with Santa. Right? Saint Nicholas. I just want to ask you a question, right? Are you Christian? Yes. And you believe in God, right? Yeah. Do you celebrate Christmas? Of course. Let me ask you a question. Would you stop celebrating Christmas if you knew that God disapproved of Christmas?
Mm.
Would I stop? If you knew that God disapproved of Christmas? I don't think so. You don't think so? No. I've been doing it for too many years just to give it up. Do you know what I mean?
He says, no, I don't think I would. Even if I knew the Most High disapproved of Christmas, I've been doing this. I've been doing it for too many years. Just doing it. Basically, that's the spirit of the devil. That's the spirit of the devil. That's the spirit of the Antichrist. Christ kept the law. Christ kept the law fully. And imagine you're putting this stain on Christ's name. You're putting this absolute disrespect to say you're celebrating Christ by breaking the law. That is such a disrespect. Imagine I stood for, you stand for anything. I stood for, let me think of an example. Imagine I was vegan, whatever. Let's do this example. Imagine I was vegan, right? And I never, I kept the vegan diet, all that, preached veganism or whatever, did all that, and then I die, and a couple years later, there's some big vegan holiday or so-called vegan holiday, but in order to keep that holiday, you have a massive roast, like a massive Harvey roast, and all types of meats, just a whole smorgasbord of meat. Pause. Why? But imagine that's the case. And that was to celebrate my contributions that I did to veganism. Like, imagine how disrespectful that would be. But that's what Christians do. In order to, and they claim they believe in God, they claim they love God, they claim they love Christ, but they do something that is absolutely against God. And this man said even if he knew it, even if he knew God was against it, he wouldn't care. He'd still celebrate Christmas because he's been doing it for too long. Because Christians serve themselves. They don't serve God. Christians absolutely serve themselves. Let's play this last part again.
Would I stop? If you knew that God disapproved of Christmas. I don't think so. You don't think so? No. I've been doing it for too many years just to give it up. Do you know what I mean? So you just keep going even if you knew for a fact God disapproved. It's for the kids now, isn't it? That's what it's all about now. Bringing families together, bringing people together. I don't think he'd approve of it. I think he's quite. He would approve of it.
And for whoever said I'm speaking on behalf of God, I think you'll find that Santa is speaking on behalf of God, because he says, well, I don't think God would disapprove of it. He said approve, but he misspoke. He's basically saying I don't think God would disapprove of it. If he disapproved of it, he would have done something about it by now. That's what he said. So I think he's the one that's speaking on behalf of God. What I'm doing is reading and interpreting the Bible. All right, so let me show you in the Bible, for whoever it was that said that the Most High is absolutely against Christmas. I mean, forget the obvious, that it's, when you go into its origin, it's pagan, and the Most High is against idolatry. The Most High himself said he's a jealous God. You shall serve no other gods before me. You partaking in pagan customs that serve that for the purpose of serving pagan gods and pagan idols is absolutely idolatry. There's no other way you can slice it. There's no other way you can slice it. If somebody if there was some altar to Zeus, and there was some custom and tradition that you had to bring what's something I can think of. You had to bring a lamb or whatever. You had to sacrifice a lamb to Zeus. and that was the fake god. And then years later, you take it up, and you sacrifice a lamb to Zeus, or you sacrifice a lamb on the same altar, doing the same customs, the same traditions that those people that sacrifice to Zeus. But you're saying, well, no, I'm not sacrificing to Zeus. I just like to sacrifice a lamb on this altar. You're absolutely, you're doing the exact same thing. You're absolutely serving Zeus. So you cannot, as a Christian, say it's not idolatry. It very much is. But you will commit idolatry purposefully. You purposefully commit idolatry. And the disrespect of saying it's for Christ. It's for your damn self. It's for yourself. If you find out that the Most High is against it, and y'all claim that Christ is God, which is incorrect. But even if y'all saying Christ is God, God disapproves of it, which means Christ disapproves of it, that's also correct. Because Christ served his Father. Christ and his Father, the Most High, were on one accord. So if the Most High disapproves of something, then Christ disapproves of something. So let's show you in the Bible. Let me show you in the Bible. It's very clear. The Most High disapproves of Christmas. All right, hold on. I want to remember this verse as well. I had another verse saved that I want to remember. Let me grab it. I'll just find it again. Hold on. All right, so let me get this verse. All right, so we get Jeremiah chapter 10. Let me read from verse 3. Right? It says, "For the customs of the people are vain." So this is the Most High God, what I'm saying, through Jeremiah, telling you this is a vain custom. You can tell me what a vain custom is. If anybody's you reading in the comments, if there's any Christians in here that want to battle me on this, you could tell me what a vain custom is. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. A vain custom is a custom or a tradition that profits nothing. It's vain. It's worthless. It's a worthless thing to do. It's a worthless custom. Like it's worthless to serve an idol, because that God that you're serving, that so-called God you're serving, is dead. There's nothing in it. There's absolutely nothing to be served. It profits you nothing. That's what a vain custom is. It says, "For the customs of the people are vain." And it describes the vain custom. Right? This is a custom that went on during Jeremiah's time. Right? "For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not." And what tree the people go ahead and cut out the forest and decorate it with silver and gold and fasten it to the floor or fasten it to wherever, fasten it to somewhere that it doesn't move. What tree do people do that with? And even in this interview, which he later on says, that's the pine tree. That's the Christmas tree that they chop down out of the wood, out of the woods, out of the forest, wherever, out of their farms that they now have to farm specifically Christmas trees for this event. They chop that tree down, they fasten it somewhere, whether it's in their home, whether it's in the city center, whether it's anywhere in the town hall, whether it's in the Christmas church. They fasten it with hammers and nails and whatever they have these days. And I'm saying technology is advanced now. Now they'll just have a stand for it. They'll have a brace for it to make sure it don't move. It's not going to fall over, because this is a tree that would usually have roots to keep it upright. It usually have roots to keep it stable so that the wind don't just blow it over. But since you chopped it off, you chopped it down, there is no roots to keep it stable. So you use now what? Hammer and nails and bolts and all these things that you use to now secure the tree down. And you decorate it with silver and with gold. You decorate it with silver, with gold, with lights, with all these other things you do to beautify this tree, to make the tree look good and glorious. You glorify in the tree. That's the Christmas tree. The Most High God said this is a vain custom. He says in verse 2, "Learn not the way of the heathen, A heathen is a non-Israelite, somebody who's not a so-called black, Latino, or Native American. He says, learn not the way of the heathen. And Christmas, which is an amalgamation of a bunch of pagan customs, is the way of the heathen. It's certainly the way of this heathen who says he'd do it even if, he's just been doing it so long. Even if God disapproved, he'd still do it. Because it's for the children, it's for this, it's for that, and whatever excuse you Christians want to make to still serve this idol, to still serve this idol that everybody is going to serve on the 25th of December. Whatever excuse you want to make for it, so be it. Right? Let me read this. So he said he would still do it, even if he knew God disapproved of it. All right? So let me get this verse for y'all. All right? Romans 1 and verse 25. The book of Romans 1 and verse 25. This is in the New Testament. All right? For all y'all Christians who don't believe in the Old, and you always say, well, Jeremiah is the Old Testament, and now we can commit idolatry because it's the New Testament. I guess that's what you would say. I guess that's what you would argue. Now we can commit idolatry because it's the New Testament. I guess. Romans chapter 1 and verse 25. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? That's the question. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? Who said that you have to, in order to serve God and be a good follower of Christ, be a good Christian, you have to celebrate Christmas? Who tells you every year to make sure you have that tree up in your house? Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator? Who did that? Which man did this? Who changed the truth of God into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator? Like he served something that's created more than the Most High that created him, or created that thing he serves. That is the oppressor. The oppressor changed the truth of God into a lie. The oppressor painted the face of Christ and the saints and the prophets as white, when Christ and the saints and the prophets and Moses and all those great men you read about are black men. This man changed the truth of God into a lie. This man says the laws are done away with. That is a lie. The laws were never done away with. This man said Christ nailed them to the cross. That is a lie. Christ never nailed the law to the cross. Christ himself, out of his own words, says, I am not come to destroy the law or the prophets. But this man changed the truth of God into a lie and has you committing idolatry like a ritual every 25th of December. Has you serving another pagan god, Ashtoreth, when you celebrate Easter. Whenever the hell that is. It's somewhere, I think it changes each year. Every March to April or whatever time, when we're supposed to be observing and keeping the Passover, y'all celebrate Easter. You celebrate another pagan custom. This man changed the truth of God into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator. This Christian will serve a tree. He'd rather serve a tree than serve God. He'd rather serve some fake mythical fat man that flies through the sky on a sled with reindeer than serve the Most High. He'd rather serve children and say, well, Christmas is for the children. He serves a child and children more than he serves the Most High. That's the man that did that, the oppressor, the devil that the Bible speaks of. And anybody that follows that man, follows his lies, and does like he does and serves the creature, serves the created thing over the one that created it, ye are of your father the devil. That Christian pastor who's in that Christian church with the biggest Christmas tree you've ever seen in your life, he is of his father the devil, and he serves the creature more than he serves the creator. He serves his own fat stomach and his pockets more than he serves the Father which is in heaven. But that's it on that. I want to get into my other topics. You know what I'm saying? Also, shalom to I see Rawatha. I shalom Yahweh Shema Alataba Shem Yahweh Shai. And Khan, that is absolutely wicked. It is a wicked thing to do or to say that even if you knew God disapproved of keeping Christmas, you would still do it. That is absolutely a wicked thing. Let me see. All right. Rawath, Khan, no sweat. All right, shalom, sis. Yahweh Shema Alataba Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, so let's get my next story. My next story, so let's going into the topic, the title, right? Black people are always the target. All right. Now, this story I just found hilarious. Like it just shows the ignorance, the absolute ignorance of oppressors. Just the ignorance and the just the lack of duty of care. Now the story I'm gonna talk about, this is like a news reporter. This is a news reporter. This is a, although it shouldn't be, it's a well-respected, highly regarded, maybe not highly regarded, but it's a well-respected news outlet. It's GBN News. It's like the UK equivalent, probably the UK equivalent of like Fox News, right? And this woman on GBN News, so I got the story right here, right? I'm gonna read it first. It says GBN News presenter. A GBN News presenter apologizes after falsely claiming Meghan Markle's black mother had been imprisoned unprovoked. Right? So, for any of you who don't know who Meghan Markle is that white woman. As much as y'all think she's black because she has some melanin, her father is an oppressor. Her father is white. And you are who your father is. So Meghan Markle, as much as she has dark skin, I won't even say dark. She's light skinned, even at that. But as much as she has some complexion, she is a so-called white person. She is an Edomite, right? She is of her father, okay? But her mother is black. Her mother, I believe, is Jamaican, right? So her mother is a sister, and this old decrepit, skeleton looking. I mean, just look at this woman. Now, it ain't about her physical appearance, but I mean, good night. I can't help but notice. All I know is black don't crack. But this look like she on crack. Black doesn't crack, but oppressor certainly does. The oppressor do crack. Yeah, the oppressor does crack, right? But let's play this video, right? Hold on. Get sure I'm catching up with the comments. Yeah, just looking like Skeletor. Looking like I mean, geez Louise. Also, shalom to Akayala, Yahweh Shema, Thaba, Shem Yahweh Shai. Alright? So let's play this video.
Okay, in an episode of Britain's Newsroom on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, I stated that Thomas Markle, the Duchess of Sussex's father, brought Meghan up while her mother, Doria Ragland, was in prison. I believe this to be the case based on what I now understand to be misinformation I had seen online. I was questioned about the validity of this claim during the broadcast, and I repeated this belief, which I now understand to be false. This was a genuine error. I accept what I have now been told on behalf of Miss Ragland, that she raised her daughter and that she has never been in prison or jail. I apologise sincerely to Miss Ragland and her family for any pain my comments may have caused, and I'm happy to set the record straight. I can't just say well for Duke News because I was on the programme that day. We all wish to apologise to Miss Ragland for the error, and we are happy to correct the record.
Okay, none of y'all did no due diligence. So let's break this down. So this woman, right? This Skeletor, right? Saw online somewhere that when it comes to Meghan Markle, what she say his father's name was Thomas Markle, said that the white father raised the child while her mother was in prison. Right, her mother. Let me get what's Meghan Markle's mother. Let me get the name right. All right, Doria Ragland. All right, Doria Ragland. I believe. Hold on. So this sister. All right, this sister is So Doria Ragland, Meghan Markle's mother, is a Judite sister. All right, so-called African American, and her father. What's her father's name? I don't say it. The father's Caucasian, right? Let me see. Thomas Markle, right? Thomas Markle is Dutch Irish, right? So this Skeletor, right? This old decrepit, you know, oppressor woman just relays this story on GBN News, a popular news outlet, and says that Thomas Markle raised Meghan Markle while her mother was in prison, which is completely and utterly baseless. Completely and utterly baseless. But you ran with that story. You ran with the white man had to raise his daughter because a black woman was in prison. What would cause you to just run something you just seen online? And there's so many things online that are misinformation. You as a news reporter, you know that. You know that misinformation runs rampant on the internet. All you had to do was damn near a quick Google search. Was Meghan Markle's mother in prison? Like, let me look that up because this is what this woman, whatever her name is, should have searched. Was let me see, Meghan Markle's mother ever imprisoned? Let me see. Yeah, no, she's never been in prison or jail. So that's all you had to do. All you had to do was look it up. All you had to do it was do your job. If you're a news reporter, you're supposed to report on news, things that are facts, things that are known. That's what your job is. But you just hear somewhere on the internet that a black woman was in prison while the white father had to raise the child. You hear that story and you Usain Bolt with it. You absolutely Usain Bolt with it. I'm sure you'd probably rather prefer some white sprinter which nobody's ever heard of because he'll never win anything. I'm sure you'd rather me say the name of some white sprinter, but I'm sorry, nobody knows nobody knows any of them because they never win anything. But you run with it like the wind. They say the wind is translucent. The wind is the wind is, I guess, closer to your complexion. It's translucent. So y'all run with that like the wind. When in actual fact, it's the mother that had to raise Megan. It's the mother that had to raise this child. Y'all just run with this story that whether it's a black man or a black woman, if y'all can find anything that says we're a deadbeat or a bad parent or a bad person or anything criminal, y'all run with that. They will run with it. Don't look into any sort of fact. Just run with that story and make the white person to be the hero or the savior. Let me see. Let me look at this. Let me look this up. Did Let me see. Was Thomas Markle involved in raising Megan? I want to see this. I want to look this up. Okay. 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 So he did spend some time with it. So it says he was involved in raising Meghan Markle during her teenage years. Though his parents divorced when she was young, he shared custody and lived on whatever, right? So he was involved, right? But they would love to push a narrative of a black woman being imprisoned, or a black woman being a deadbeat mother, or a black man being imprisoned, or a black man being a deadbeat mother, or that all black families are broken up and broken households. Meanwhile, this is an example. This is a white man. and his home was broken. But y'all would never talk about that. Y'all would never, downplay the father's role or downplay, whatever an oppressor did. But you will run with a baseless lie that the father raised the child while the mother was in prison, when that's absolutely not true, because she's a black woman. Like if that was a white woman, that would have never happened. Like you can guarantee they would have looked into that story. Meghan Markle's mother was imprisoned. If this was a white woman, you'd look into it. But because it's a black woman, it must be true. A black man prison? Yep, that sounds about right. That's what you run with. Good night. So that's that story. Let's leave that alone. All right. So I want to look up this other thing I saw. Right. Let me see. Bada bing, bada boom. So I found this story. Let's see. This story on right. It says right here. It says 3 in 5 Black and Asian Britons at risk of losing UK citizenship, with people of Jamaican heritage among the most exposed. Right? So, like, you know how they always love to group Black and Asians together as if we're all minorities and we're all treated bad. But you'll note it says with people of Jamaican heritage among the most exposed. Like when it comes to the oppressor, sure, he hates other nations also. Sure, he's intolerant to Asians and they have this whole far right movement. They don't really like them folk, right? But when it comes to black people who have done nothing but, serve this country, who have done nothing but be slaves and tributaries to this country, we are the highest target. Even when you have people, you have like the Asians, they come over here and they bring their culture over. Like when black people, we come over and we assimilate and keep their Christmas and we keep their whatever. Like all the things we do to try and please massa as a nation, not in the I.S.U.P.K. We don't give a F about pleasing massa. But all those things that we do as a nation to try and appease, you would think he would have more tolerance or more love for us than the people that come over here and bring their customs and bring their culture and don't learn English, don't learn their language, don't care about their religion. They set up mosques all over the UK. You'd think that they would hate them people more than they hate us. And yet, it says we are the ones that are most exposed to losing citizenship. We are the people that are more exposed to to being kicked out and deported from England or from the UK. And this is after the whole Windrush scandal. This ain't talking about the Windrush scandal. The Windrush scandal happened, and that was its own thing. That was a crazy injustice that happened to black people. And then on top of that, whenever they give some political apology and say, I don't know how this could have happened. This was a crazy oversight and we've learned, we're taking so many lessons to learn. So there's something like this, doesn't happen in the future. And a few years later, something like that just comes right back around. And we realize that you learned nothing. You just tried to learn how to hide it better. That's all you learned. You learn that in doing this too obviously, you got caught. So you try to learn a way to do it more covert. You try to hide it better, and you still get caught out. When it comes to treating black people with dignity and respect, you'll have learned absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. So let's read this. Let's read this little story right here, and I have an article on it that I want to read a little bit from as well. It says 3 in 5 people of color in the UK are at risk of having their citizenship stripped. So that is 60%. 60% of brothers, I'm saying from Jamaica and the Caribbean, so on and so forth, are at risk of having their citizenship stripped. So whether you've paid thousands upon thousands, like tens and thousands of pounds for visa applications and so on and so forth, or I mean, you kind of have to do that, or you've managed to live in the UK for so long, or your parents came over here, they've lived in the UK for so long, and you were born in Britain, you're a British citizenship. Right? It's called like naturalization. Right? When you've lived somewhere for so long that you just kind of automatically become a citizen of the UK, right? So you have that. So it's 3 in 5 people of color, which is what they'll change it to, in the UK are at risk of having their citizenship stripped. It says new research from the Runnymede Trust and Reprieve has found up to 9 million people could be affected, with people of color 12 times more likely to be targeted than their white peers. And that's always the case. As the title says, black people are always targeted. We're always. I read another story, and what I covered last week. Like it says, we were 4 times more likely when it came to Black Caribbean. We're 4 times more likely than white people to be stopped and searched. I seen another article on this same page. Right, this page is called Black Current News. Right, when they covered it, they said, let me find it here. Just while we on that topic, they stated, hold on, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, bada bing, 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 bada boom. All right, so this is the Met Police, right? So this is the police in London, right? It says Met Police is stopping black Londoners at 18 times the rate of white people, right? So when it comes to like London specifically, right, black Londoners, you're 18 times more likely. Overall, I think when it came to like Black Caribbean, it was like 4 times more likely, but there was a huge category, right? There was a huge category of people that they categorized as black other, where it was like a black man that didn't want to give his ethnicity, right? So any black man who chose not to say his ethnicity, you know what I'm saying? He was just put in the category of black other. But whether you're 4 times or 18 times or previously it's been like 9 times, 7 times, you're always the one that is more targeted by the oppressor. You're always targeted. It's always you. Like in the UK, it's mainly Benjamites. It's always you. All across America, you have, of course, Judites and Benjamites, like so-called black people are always being targeted. They also were targeting the Hispanics. The ICE raids going on all over America. ICE raids, people in unmarked vans, in no official uniform, just gripping up our Hispanic brothers and sisters and throwing them in the back of a van, kidnapping people. Israelites are always the target. You have Native Americans, how they target them and put them on reservations, and how they just committed genocide and stole their whole land. We're always the target. All right, so let me read this. Hold on, did I finish reading this part? No, I think I moved back to this other one saying that we're 18 times more likely to be stopped and searched in London. All right, so let me go back to this one. Okay. It says people of Jamaican heritage are among those most exposed, right? And it says alongside Bangladeshi and Pakistani heritage communities. Like they love to lump us together, but it's very clear who's most hated. It's very clear who's most exposed, right? It says Runnymede CEO, the people who did the research, warns this creates a two-tiered approach to citizenship that echoes the failures that led to the Home Office Windrush scandal. While Reprieve says millions now face losing their rights at the discretion of the Home Secretary. All right. Someone says, I'm sorry, where in America or Jamaica? So this is in the UK. So this is Jamaican people. It mentions Jamaican people specifically that have migrated to the UK, that have migrated to Britain. We're at risk of losing citizenship for whatever reason the Home Office wants to come up with, right? So again, you can't. This is Jamaicans in the UK. All right. So let me get this article. So of course, like somebody who actually, likes to report factual information, I looked it up, right? You look it up and you go into it, right? So it says right here, right? We got an article here. It says, worrying new research reveals millions at risk under UK citizenship stripping laws, right? So let's get this part. Let's get some parts that I mainly want to read. Okay. Let me see. Let me see. Bada bada bing. It says the findings are published in Stripped, the Citizenship Divide. So that's the report that the Runnymede Trust and Legal Charity Reprieve, that's the report they did, right? And this is an article based on that report. It says drawing on updated census data, the analysis revises previous estimates upwards by 3 million people. So it shows that 3 in 5 people of color are vulnerable under current citizenship laws, compared with just 1 in 20 white British people. It says people of color are 12 times more likely to be at risk than their white peers, right? And what this basically means is that the Home Office, whether you have your visa application, you've spent, again, the tens of thousands of pounds it takes to actually settle in the UK and become a British citizen and get your British passport, right? After doing all that, the Home Office can just decide to strip your citizenship away. Strip it away and ship you back to wherever, ship you back to the Caribbean. So when it comes to Jamaicans, when it comes to black people, when it comes to people from the Caribbean, it's like 3 in 5. 3 in 5 people that they'll say we're stripping his citizenship. But when it comes to white people, when it comes to white immigrants, right? When it comes to them, people who are not born British citizens and all they've ever known is Britain. When it comes to white immigrants, it's 1 in 20. So they're 5%. We're 60%. So let's read on. It says the report identifies a profound racial imbalance in how citizenship security is distributed in Britain. Around 13% of the population is now considered at risk of citizenship deprivation. When broken down by ethnicity, the disparities are stark. It says 62% of black British people, which is around 1.6 million, right? It says, it says 62% of people of other ethnicity, which is around 700,000, which is again from the census data, and 60% of Asian British people, which is around 3.3 million, right? By contrast, only 5% of white British people, around 2.4 million, fall into the same category. It says researchers warn that these figures point to the emergence of a two-tier system of citizenship, in which security of one's status depends heavily on race, heritage, and family background. Otherwise known as, if you're black and you get in trouble, you're getting deported. You're getting your citizenship stripped. You're getting revoked. Whereas a white immigrant, you have 12 times more of chances. Like you have 12 times more opportunity to not get your citizenship stripped, to not get deported. They are looking for any and every reason to strip black people of citizenship and just get them out of the country, because clearly they're sick of the sight of us, right? So let me see. It says, so this is some woman, the chief executive, right? She says the situation closely mirrors the conditions that led to the Winrush scandal, adding that there are still no effective checks to prevent these powers being used widely, right? It says, where citizenship, she warned that successive governments have advanced a two-tier approach where citizenship can be removed on the basis of perceived good or bad behavior. And you know, they always perceive black people of being of bad behavior. I mean, we just saw that GBN News reporter who just assumed that Meghan Markle's mother, a black woman, had been in prison. So we know we're already assumed to be to have or to portray bad behavior. So let's read on. It says, with the consequences falling most heavily on people of color. Right? Hold on. Someone said it's not about black people, it's about people wanting Sharia. Right? I assume that's talking about Sharia law with those Muslims in there. Yeah, so that's why y'all hate the Muslims. That's why y'all don't like the Asians, because they want to come over to Britain and bring their law and bring their way of doing things to Britain. Like, we understand why you dislike them. Let me ask you, Jesus is King. Let me ask you this: why do your people? I'm assuming you're a white man. I'm assuming. I could be wrong. Why do your people hate black people? Why do your people hate those of the Caribbean? If you could answer me that question, I would love to hear it. Why do your people dislike and have a disdain for us? Why are we the most exposed? Why are we the most hated? Why are we the most stopped and frisked, stopped and searched? Why are we the most incarcerated by proportion? Why are we the most targeted? If you could answer that question, I would appreciate it. All right, but without further, until then, I'm gonna read on. Okay, she says, citizenship can be removed on the basis of perceived good or bad behavior, with the consequences falling most heavily on people of color. She questioned how such a shift had failed to trigger greater alarm in a democratic society. It says, hold on. She warned that okay, hold on. So Maya Foa, chief executive of Reprieve, said the findings should cause serious concern, particularly in the current political climate. She warned that previous governments stripped British trafficking victims of citizenship for political gain, and that the current government has expanded these already extreme and secretive powers. With the Reform Party leading the polls, she said the 9 million people whose citizenship could be taken away by a future Home Secretary have every reason to be worried. All right, she says, but treating people with family connections to another country as second-class citizens is an affront to the British principle of equality before the law. That's like what y'all say. Y'all say equality. You'll say we're all equal. We're all British, but you treat us different. All right. What did what did Jesus' King say? He said it's not about race. Even black peoples and white are protesting this. Right, but that wasn't my question. My question was, I understand how you're protesting about Sharia law. You're protesting about the Asians and the Muslims to say bringing their law over and trying to turn Britain into a Muslim country. Like I've seen all the memes about Englandistan and try to basically turn England Muslim, right? I understand that. My question was, why do your people hate black people? Why do your people hate and target those of the Caribbean? I understand why you hate them, or why you have a distaste for them. Why do you hate us? If you could explain that for me, if you could answer that question, I would greatly appreciate it. Let's read on. Let me see. Bada bada bing. It says right here, under the current law, the Home Secretary has the power to strip a person of British citizenship if they decide it would be conducive to the public good. This is a concentrated executive power often exercised on the basis of secret evidence that the individual affected may never see or be able to challenge. Right? So basically, somebody in some dark room says, get rid of that N-word. Get rid of that N-word. He's not his behavior or her behavior is not conducive to the people of Britain. Go ahead and strip his citizenship away, and you love the fact that it's secretive, because we know that we're treated wrongly. We know that we're stopped and searched wrongly. We know that there's so many black people that have been arrested or imprisoned with no evidence, with no actual evidence of wrongdoing, or they've been given way harsher sentences than what their white counterparts would have been given. Way harsher. We know for a fact that we're dealt bad, we're targeted, we're dealt with far more harshly than any other race in this country. Any other race in this country. For this, okay, Jesus is King, you responding again, but you're not answering my question. Someone says, I'm not the government, I don't hate, he said, I'm not the government, I don't hate anyone. I don't care people being here. I'm assuming it says I don't mind or I don't care about people being here as long as they obey law. Right, but my question is, why do your people, I'm not talking about you, unless you're completely ignorant to the fact that your people, the government, and just your people in general, not just the government, we're talking about citizens, why you hate us. You can assess and identify why your people don't like them, don't like the Muslims. You've assessed that. Why don't your people, not just you, I don't care about your personal opinion. Why don't your people, or why do your people target black people? Why do you hate black people? Why do you hate us of the Caribbean? If you could provide some insight based, yourself being, I see the Scottish flag. I believe that's a Scottish flag in your bio or in your name. Yourself being of Scottish descent or whatever. From what you've observed, being on the inside as a Scottish man, why do your people? I'm sure you've heard it. I'm sure you've heard some of the reasons. I'm sure you've heard the racial slurs in your inner circles. I'm sure you've heard it. Don't act like you haven't. Come on now. All right. Why do your people dislike black people? All right. So as I was saying, like with the current laws, they can just turn around and say this man or this woman is not good for society. Strip them of their citizenship, and I'm not gonna give you a reason. I don't have to give you a reason. Just you're getting stripped of citizenship. I don't care if you've paid your life savings in visa applications. I don't care. You're just not conducive to the people of the good people of Britain. You're not conducive. It doesn't benefit them for you to be here. And so off you go. Off you go. It says any British citizen with dual nationality can be stripped of citizenship. Naturalized citizens may also be deprived if the Home Secretary has reasonable grounds for believing they could claim another nationality. So if they have reasonable grounds to claim or to believe that you could claim, you know, get out of this country, and you could just claim Jamaican citizenship, or you could claim Trinidadian citizenship, or this citizenship, or that citizenship, right? You could claim that, so get out this country, right? If they believe that you could claim any other nationality, even if you've never done so. That's what it says. It says, even if they have never done so. It says, in practice, the report finds that these powers have been used against people with tenuous or non-existent links to another country, leaving some effectively stateless. So if they believe that you could just go ahead and become a Jamaican citizenship, even though you've never, you don't have any links or ties to Jamaica, they'll strip your citizenship, and now you have to try and apply for Jamaican citizenship, and you might not get accepted. So where is your citizenship? Where do you belong? Where do you go? Some people have been left basically stateless. They don't have a home. Hold on, this Scottish guy, Jesus is King, says, I don't know. I think it's just people stuck in the past. We need immigrants, just not illegal ones. Yeah, we know for a fact that you need immigrants. You need people like in the Windrush when we came over and fought in World War II. And when it was agreed that if we fought in World War One and World War Two, would be allowed to come over here, and then later on you deported us en masse in the Windrush scandal. And when we came over here, we were exploited. We had to pay the same price that a white person would pay for a whole house. We'd pay for a room in that house that we had to share with other people. Exploited, racially abused, assaulted, and we've done nothing but help to fight for this country, build this country up, be in your NHS, build your NHS, and yet we're the ones that are targeted most. So I understand you need the immigrants. Without immigrants, this country wouldn't run. Like, that's a fact. Y'all love to say Great Britain and the great British people, but for those who say that, we're talking about just white people, they don't realize that this country wouldn't be so great if it weren't for the contribution of other people. Primarily, I mean, the contributions that the Caribbean people have made to this country have been, you can't put a price on it. But why are we the most targeted? You think it's just people stuck in the past. I'll halfway accept that, but that doesn't explain why we are the most targeted, why we are the most hated among all these other immigrants that are coming over here, and some of them getting a free ride, a hotel room. I've heard all the talking points. They put up in a hotel with a free food and this, that, and the third, and they're complaining that there's no Wi-Fi. I've heard all those talking points. But the black people that came over here, fought for this country, built this country, work hard. Like, we have worked harder than, any other nation that's come over here. They come over here and they get grants. They get, loans and things like that to help build their businesses and start their businesses. We came over here, we got nothing but abuse. And we're still the most hated. We're still the most hated. We've done nothing but try and assimilate with your Christianity and bow down to your white Jesus. And we're still the most hated. We're still abused. We're still exploited. Now we get exploited by all the other nations that have come over here. And they get grants to open up their stores. They open up their stores in our neighborhoods. And they drive our businesses, into ruin. Now we have nothing. Now we're not only being abused by the British people, by the British government, we're being abused by these other nations. We're being abused by these nations that are strangling our women up in hair stores. We've been abused by these other nations that are just surrounding us and ganging up on a black man. There was a black man that parked in a parking spot, and he got rushed by about 10, 15 East Indians. They punched him, beat him up, and kicked his pregnant wife. That's how we get treated. After all our contributions, after all our work. I think that was that. I think that was that on the story. I don't want to go on for too long. Yeah, basically they can just decide to strip you of citizenship if they decide, you know, um, yeah, yeah, what's the word? Yeah, you're not good for the British people. Hold on, what's this question? He says, "What makes you think your race is the only being targeted? I've seen riots because Muslim attacks." Okay, I never said that my people were the most targeted, or my race was the most targeted. No, I said the most targeted for sure, but I didn't say the only targeted. We just read in articles that they also target those of Bangladeshi and Pakistani descent. I understand that other nations are targeted. You said you've seen riots because of Muslim attacks. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. I premised in my question that y'all don't like those Muslims. Like, you don't like other people. That you target them also. But you target us and we've done nothing. You target us and we've done nothing but help this country or tried to help this country. We fought in your war. We built your NHS. You had us in slavery. And we're still the most targeted. in damn near every statistic you can find, we are the most targeted. We're the most stopped and searched. We're the most arrested. We're the most falsely imprisoned. We're the most vindicated, or what's that word where you get arrested, you go to court, uh, and it's found that you were wrongfully arrested. What's that word? I can't think of the word right now. But vindicated for being wrongly arrested, right? Exonerated. That's the word. The water. We're the most exonerated. Like in every one of these statistics, black people are the target. Blacks and Hispanics are the target. Someone says, I have Muslim friends. They are not all bad people, and I agree, sir. You were treated abhorrently. Absolutely correct. Like out of all these nations, of all these people and people that are in this country doing whatever, we are the worst treated. We are absolutely the most targeted. And we have done the most to try and be friends with you. We have done the most to try and be friends with you, to try and forgive you for what you did to us. You had us in slavery. And that has long-lasting effects that impact us to this day. But with that good Christianity y'all gave us, we have tried to forgive you. We don't harbor any, as a nation, we don't harbor any hate in our heart towards you. We should, because you're still attacking us to this day. We should know who our enemy is. But as a nation, we treat y'all good. But we still targeted. With that, I don't want to go over the same topic again and again. With that, I'm going to close out with the show. I appreciate all the love in the comments. I appreciate, the likes, the comments, the shares. I appreciate everybody that tuned in. With that, I'm going to catch y'all next Sunday. All right, next Sunday, 2 p.m. UK time. All right, with that, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shai Barakatam to all the brothers. Yahweh Shema, Allah Tam Hashem, Yahweh Shai to all our sisters. All right, Shalom, Lord in Christ.